Hello and thank you for joining me on another video from trainingrite.com. Today the topic is VB scripting. I'm going to introduce you to VB script. What is VB script and how do we write some basic scripts for QTP? All right, to begin with, we'll start QTP. I have QTP installed here on my machine, so I'm starting QTP. The very first thing which pops up here is it's going to ask you what kind of add-ins we should be including. Now, what do you mean by add-ins? If you are testing an application, and if that application happens to be a web application, and if it is using some ActiveX controls, and or if you want to test a Windows application, the add-ins here basically determines or are responsible for testing a kind of application. Now, let's say if I am testing an SAP application, it's a CRM, then I have to add to QTP that add-in. If I'm testing a Siebel application, then I have to add in that particular add-in for the QTP. So these are the basic add-ins which are by default included. You can check them off or include them. And basically the minimum add-ins which are included when the test starts is these three. And if you, let's say if I'm testing a Windows application, what is the need for me to have this web add-in for that? So I could take it away, right? So in my case right now I am testing a web application, so I'm going to include that. All right, okay. Now this can be configured to show up on the while QTP is starting. So right now the default setting is that it's supposed to show up, so that's why it's popping up. Okay, I hit OK. Here is my QTP starting up. There are the version of QTP which I'm using here is QTP version 10. Right now in the industry you have QTP 11, but it doesn't make much of a difference for the stuff which we are doing. It's basically some extra new features which will be there in version 11. But to do whatever we are doing, I guess this is quite enough. Okay, here is the tool. The tool here, this is your QTP. In our course, I'm going to be walking you through these different menu items in here as what each one would be doing. Now, the purpose of this tool is to do automate testing, right? So where are you going to do the automated testing? For that, you have to go and you have to start. You have to click on New Test, right? So I hit New. And here is my first test I'm going to write. Okay, right now I am not necessarily testing an application. What I'm trying to do is to give you a quick demo on VBScripting. So VBScripting is the language which we will be using in QTP to write our scripts, to write our test cases. And what our test cases are going to be doing, basically it's a test case. So it could be anything like if I have to check the functionality of if a user is able to log into an application or not, then I have to write that test case here. So how am I going to write? Am I going to write in English? Like I need to test the login feature of, let's say, eBay, right? Am I going to write something like that? No, because the QTP is not going to understand that. This, you and I, we can understand because this is the language which we speak. All right. So now, how about the language which QTP speaks? That language is called VBScript. So let's try and do some things so that QTP can understand. Because right now, if I have written a statement in English, and if I try to execute that, if I try to run that, of course QTP is going to come back and say, what are you talking about? I have no clue what you're talking about. So just let's take a look what QTP does. So I'm trying to imagine that I have given an instruction here to QTP and I want it to execute that, run that instruction. So if I hit that, the very first thing which comes out here is, okay, when I run that, where do you want me to store the results? Do you want to create a new folder for that, or do you want to put it in the temporary folder? For now, I'm just going to select the temporary folder. We will come to the results, when we do the course. Right now, just take the temporary settings, okay, and hit OK. Now, right here is what QTP is telling me, that run error, right? The test run cannot continue due to a syntax error, right? Expected line of statement, line 1, I need to. So it is saying that, hey, you know what? I cannot run this because there seems to be some error, the syntax error, right? So it comes back and says that you can't do it, right? Of course, that's right. I mean, it can't do that, right? So I hit OK. I acknowledge that QTP was telling me that I don't know what you're talking about. So I acknowledge that. So it brought me back again into the test. So what we will do is we will tell QTP, hey, you know what? This is for me. This is for me. This is not for you. This is an instruction, or this is a kind of like a comment for me. So how do you make something a comment in QTP? So let's begin there. We will use a single quote. When I hit that single quote, right, the whole line turn into green color. That means that QTP, I can write whatever I want, but as long as I comment that, I put that green, it turns into green, QTP is not going to execute that. So if I run it, there's nothing to be run here, right? So if I run that, what is it going to do? It's just going to, there's no instruction, there's nothing for it to run. So it's just going to come back and, do nothing. But there is a line here. So how can I, the first question here is, how do you write comments in VBScript? Well, whatever you have to write, just put a single quote right in front of it, and that becomes a comment for us. All right. And what kind of comments are there in real world? Basically, it is going to be something like that. They say that, okay, this is a login test case, right? Created, let's say on, I don't know, November 1st, 2011 by John Doe. All right. So when the next guy comes in here, and when he's looking, imagine that we have tons of stuff here. Let's say, imagine that there's a lot. So they would take a look at here and then say that, okay, oh, John created that, Mr. Doe created that, and he created that. So these are some of the instructions you will find, or when you write a test case, you'll find that whoever is the tester, he would write some comments, some notes. All right. Okay. So that's the first command of the language called VBScript, which is a single quote. Okay. Now let's take a look into some other commands. Okay. Let's say I want to do, to have two numbers and I want to add them, let's say. All right. So, or how about we take some good example. So the example is, let's say, my salary per week equals, let's say, 1,000. Now you might say, what did you just do here, right? What I did, this is my salary, let's say, right? We just made up a number there. So this 1,000 is my salary, $1,000, 1,000 euros, whatever. So this is my salary, and let's say my spouse, right? My spouse salary, again, per week is $1,000, right? And I want to find out how much both of us make in a week. So you would say, do you need a program to, or do you need to write in VBScript to get the total? Can't you just say that, okay, it is 2,000? Sure, yeah, it is 2,000 because you know what, 1,000 and 1,000 is 2,000. Now, how about if I quickly ask you, like, how much do we make in 6 months? Now we are talking, right? So now we need either a calculator or we need to write a program here so that we could calculate like how much we make in 6 months. This is per week, right? And you will still be smart. You would say that, okay, 6 months is quickly like, okay, 26 weeks, because in a year you have 52 weeks, so 6 months is 26 weeks, and per week we are making $2,000. So 26 weeks is times 2 is what? 52,000 in 6 months. Well, okay. How about on the 13th week? By the 13th week, how much we have made? Well, again, so you see the need for us to write a program, right? Now you might be saying that, well, I'm a tester. Why am I writing a program? You know what? I am not trying to make you a programmer. In fact, that is not at all the intent, and not by me, not by the industry. But you need to know a little bit of scripting so that you could write your test cases. And what is your test case? Your test case again could be like to check if it is able to log in properly, if a user is able to log in or not, and if when the user logs in, is he able to perform a certain action? And the action could be he's searching an application for an item. Let's say if it is an eBay, right? And you want to search for all the Nike shoes on the eBay site, right? So how can I perform that test? Now you have to write that little script for that, right? I might be scaring you by saying all this, but guess what? It's literally piece of cake. We're gonna take some baby steps. We're gonna start to crawl first, and then we will walk, and eventually by the end of this course you'll be running, right? That's basically my goal. My goal is to teach you VBScript so much that you could become an QTP automated test engineer. Again, the purpose of making you learn is only so that we could write our test cases. I am not going to make you a programmer here. That's that's not why we are here for. Anyway, so let's continue. So let me tell QTP using VBScript to add these two numbers, right? Okay, so how am I going to do that? So what I did here is this 1,000. I try to put that 1,000 into this what is called my salary per week, which is called a variable, right? Now, when you have something, you try to put it in a bag, right? So consider this variable as a bag, right? So we are putting this 1,000 into this bag, right? And I have this 1,000 into this bag, right? So when I take both of them, right, and put it in a third bag, so I should have whatever I have in this bag plus that bag in the third bag, right? So how about if I do this? Together we make, and that is equal to what? That is equal to my salary per week plus my spouse salary per week. Okay, all right. So it kind of like it is making sense, because we are saying that, okay, you know what, I want to have, this is 1,000 and this is 1,000, so together I want to add and put it in here, right? Okay, so we put it in here. But how can we make sure that we have this 2,000 in it? Maybe when we put this 1,000 here and put 1,000 here, maybe by magic it could become like 1,000,000 here, right? So how would we know what is in it, right? So the way we will find out is we will try to print what is in it, right? Okay, so here the command is print, right? So I am going to print. I'm going to print what? Together we make. I'm going to print that. All right. Okay. Now, how many of you think that it is going to be 2,000? Print will show me 2,000. probably all of you would think that it is going to be 2000. What if I say that there is going to be some magic here and it might be not be 2000 or it might be like a million? You would say, now, come on, that's not the case. Well, let's see. Maybe I'm wrong or maybe I'm right, right? So bottom line here is, how can we find out what is in there? So for that, I'm using a command called print. So let us run this now and see what happens. Okay, here we are. It is running, and lo and behold, what we have here is all of you were right, because it's what? It's 1000 and 1000, and in here, since we are adding them, it becomes 2000, and that's what it is showing in here. This is the print window. In this, it is going to print in this window, and it shows this 2000, right? Now, this is, it would be better if we could say right in front of this 2000, if we could have mentioned that together both of us make 2000 per week, right? So that we have to say this is that 2000, right? So before that, I want to say, so after print, I have to say together we make every week, or how should we say it? Every week together we make, right? Now think about this. Now you see, this is my English. This is my English statement, right? It is not a variable. It's not that bag. I want to say it's a so whenever you want to say something, some string, so you include that in the double quote. So here is the double quote begins, and here is the double quote ends. All right. So I want this to print as is. Every week together we make, right? So I want it to print like that. And then after that, the value in it, right? Now notice that this is, while it is printing, print is a statement. While it is printing, it is printing this string, this English string. Then after that, it is printing this number, right? But for it to do that, if I run it right now, it is going to give me an error. Why it is going to give me error? Because we have to say that, okay, this is a string, right? So after you finish printing that, which is every week together we make, I am not done yet, because there is some space in between, right? So it might think that, okay, we are done, right? So we have to say that there's one more thing you have to do. So you have to use what is called ampersand, which is this ampersand is an operator, and that operator is called concatenation operator. Well, it's a mouthful, right? Concatenation. So let me spell that for you. It's a concatenation. Concatenation is nothing but appending two things, right? So appending to, so what two things I'm appending? I'm appending that to that. When I need to do that, I have to make use of what is called an ampersand operator, right? Okay, now let's go and test and see what happens now. Okay, here we are. I say run, and I hit that. What happened now? Where did the window go? Here. So it said together, every week together we make 2000. Now notice this 2000. This 2000 is sitting from before, right? Because what this window does is, this window, unless I close the window, it is going to hold the information from the previous run of the test. So I ran that before, so it held the what is called the output, right? And then I ran it again after I did this, so it held that, and then it held this. Now if I run it one more time, guess what? It is going to say this 2000 from before, and this is, and then it'll say one more time if I don't make any change the same. But this is not readable. Do you see that it says every week together we make, and then there is no space in between this make and this 2000 and all that, right? So what I should do is, how about if I do that, right? So I made some space here. So every and between every and week, I say every week together we make that, right? Now notice that I did not close this. If I close this window, it's going to start fresh, right? So since I did not close it, and if I run it now, it is going to show me it ran so fast, and it is going to show me here it is. Every week together we make that, right? So notice that we have some spaces in between. This is properly aligned. All right. Okay. So what have we learned in this presentation? When I started my QTP, and then after that, we are not doing any testing here, right? I am not testing whether something is. I'm just trying to teach you simple, basic VBScript, right? Okay. So why do we need to learn VBScript? Because when we talk, you and I, when two people, when they talk in a language each one of them can understand, right? If I'm talking to somebody from China, unless and until he speaks English or I speak Chinese, we are not able to communicate, right? Likewise, when you are talking with QTP, unless you talk to QTP in a language which QTP understands, which is VBScript, QTP will not understand English, right? And that's what we proved ourselves, right? In the very first line, when I started, I just typed this English statement, and when I ran, QTP gave me an error. And that's because QTP said, hey, what is this? I don't know. So I said, hey, ignore it. So this single code was to like, oh, ignore it. This is not for you. This is for me. So QTP, very easily ignored that. And I gave you an example of why we do in real world, why we do that. So this is, if you're writing a test case, you briefly explain the test case and all that. So this is how you do it. All right. Okay. So that was the example of how to have comments in QTP. Then we started with, okay, to learn some simple basic VB scripting. We started with, okay, let's have two numbers, let's add them up. Then I said, okay, why don't we make it a little interesting? And that is like, okay, this is, let's say, my salary, this is my spouse salary. So together we want to find out like how much we make and whatnot, right? So then we put that into variable. Now, so I have this, and then I have that, and then I added them, and then I put the result into a third variable, right? And then after that, we wanted to print it. So I use what is called a print command, right? And print command basically opens a small window, and then it prints that, right? If you just want to print that number, it prints that number. If you want to write some text, make sure that the text is included in the double quotes, and that's what we did. And since there are two things and you want to show both of them, so you put this and, right? And let's say after this I want to say something more. So guess what? I'm just going to do an and I'll say something. Thank God that we have. I'm thankful that I have, or we both have jobs in this economy. Well, okay. All right. So now we did not have that. So now it's going to run fine. So I'm just going to do that and do that. And what it does that okay. Every week together we make 2,000. Thankful to the Lord that we both have jobs in this account. So that is something, right? That was something. So to this I have added that, not added as an addition or subtraction, but appended or concatenated. So the concatenation operator is the ampersand operator which we have used. All right. Okay. So far so good. Now before I finish, this is not necessarily the best way of declaring a variable. When you use a variable, it is better to declare a variable. So I kind of like took a shortcut because I just put this 1,000 into this, right? The best practice is you have to declare a variable before you use that. So how do you declare a variable in VBScript? So you use the word called dim, right? Dim is it's short for dimension. So dim, and then you give the name of the variable. So I should have done dim my whatever, my salary per week. Likewise, I have to declare the other variable, dim my. So I'm just gonna copy that. So dim that, right? Now, how many variables we used in here? Okay, my salary, my spouse, 2, right? Well, how about this one, right? Together we put the total in there, right? So I'm gonna take that and declare one more variable, dim, and then that, right? Okay, so we learned now as how to declare variables in VBScript. We know now as how to assign a value into that variable, and then we are computing something with those variables. I'm adding something to that, right? Now, to end the video, how about we are making per week, right? Quickly, together we make, or why are we saying this together? How about this? Annually we make, right? Okay, now annually we make. This is together we make per week, right? So a better way of this would be, for more readability, it should have said per week. All right. Okay. So together we make per week is that, right? Now, so I'm going to take that. Think about it. If I want to find out like how much I make in a year, annually together we make, right? So what do you think I should do? Take this and multiply that by what? This is how many weeks are there in a year. You might say like, well, usually they are 52. Okay, but are we working for all? Oh, we better be working, right? So here is 52. So I multiply that by that, and then annually we make that, right? Okay, now think about it. If it is going to take this, which is 1,000 and 1,000, 2,000, and multiply by 52, so it should be 104,000, right? Are we showing it anywhere here? No. So where do you want to show? Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I could say print, right? And I could say our annual income is, in double quote n, concatenation operator, and annually, you see, let me do this. Annually we make, right? Okay, annually we make, right? So I have print, and I am hoping that we are making whatever we are making annually. So let me run that, and there you go. Okay, now what happened here? Every week together we make, and what happened to that? Thankful that we both have jobs in this. I mean, what happened to the numbers, right? I mean, it did not complain. The program did not complain, right? It ran. It never said that, you know what, there is an error. No, nowhere it said that there was an error. So what happened now? We had a working program, and then we all of a sudden it's not working. What happened? Well, for those of you who got like sharp eyes, they would have caught it already. But you know, sometimes we don't really pay attention. So it is. So here, I mean, basically, what happened here is, you see here, we said we put my spouse salary, or my salary and my spouse salary into what? I just changed that, right? Together we make per week, right? So my dim is together we make per week. Now, while reporting, print every week, together we make. So see that? I mean, it's so easy to make mistakes. So I changed this variable here, and the value of the variable I'm reporting here, but I forgot to change it in here, right? So the program ran. It never told me what the problem was. So you have to be very careful. Now you might say that, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna remember all that. So how am I gonna? Okay, I'll tell you how to fix that. The QTP or VBScript has something called Option Explicit, right? Which will help you understand, like, okay, even if I forget to make, QTP will come back and say, hey, you know what, you forgot. So let me, you know the reason why it did not show, right? Because here, together we make, right? That's why it did not show, because I put together we make per week. So if I go here and do per week, right? And if I run that, it should show, okay, every week together we make 2,000. So it is showing that number. Thankful that we have this job. Okay, but what happened to this? Our annual income is, why did not show that, right? Well, let's take a look. Now our annual income is, so together we make times 52 is what is going into this, right? Annually we make, and I'm showing the same thing here. Annually we make, right? Why it is not shown? What is the problem here? Well, anybody? Well, even if you are screaming, saying that, hey, you know what, the error is because you spelled it wrong. Here it is A-N and here you said. So you know now that how easy it is to make mistakes, right? So let's say we made a mistake like that and we want QTP to tell us. So what we have to do, we have to use something called Option Explicit. Option Explicit. Now you might be wondering, like, what is Option Explicit? Option Explicit is, you are telling QTP, hey QTP, if I ever use a variable, right? This variable, any variable, and if I did not declare it, you come back and you tell me, right, that I did not declare it. So you remind me, you help me, right? So that's one thing. And let's say even if I declare this is my variable, right? So first of all, I never declared that, right? So this annually we make. So let's say I am going to declare this, right? So I come here and I do this dim, and I declared that variable. Very good, right? Now if I try to run now, see what happens. If I try to run now, see, now it is telling me, what it is telling me, variable is undefined, right? It is telling me variable is undefined, annually we make, right? Okay, I'm going to ask QTP, okay, these are 4 buttons. I have the option of either skipping, because right now my test is stopped now, right? I cannot do anything, my test unless I respond to this box. And my response can be either I stop the test, right? Or I can retry. I mean, if there is an issue, if there is a problem, and if you don't fix it, and if you keep retrying like 500 times, that's not going to fix the problem, right? So this retry, is never going to help. I can skip it, right? But if I skip it, basically I will not get the output. Or I could debug it, right? Okay. I will hit debug, and debug will point to this arrow. See that yellow arrow, and it is saying that the error is somewhere here on this line, right? So it said if you notice the error, it said variable undefined. So in this line, where is my variable? This is my variable, and it is saying that it is undefined. So you would say that, oh, we already defined it. So now you have to pay attention and you have to see, did I make a mistake while spelling it? And here it is, right? So there's one N and there are 2 N's. So we have to fix it. So I'm going to stop here and then either put an N here, right, which is annually, right? Or I could have misspelled that by taking away this N from here, right? So anyways, they have to match. So it matched right now. Now, if I run it, we will have our results. So, whoa, let's see. Okay, all right. Again, it is telling us. Okay, very good. It is telling us because even I ignore the fact that we still have an issue here. So do you notice that now it is line number 20. So if I say debug, right, it is stopping here on line number 20. right? And in line number 20, it is saying that there is an n here, there are two n's here. So you got the idea. So you come here and we fix that. We put that n there, right? And now we run, and I promise you this time it's going to run fine, right? Okay, here it is. And here we are. Every week we make 2,000. Thankful, blah blah blah. Every week we make, because it basically held from before. So our income is 104,000, 104,000, right? Now, just for the heck of it, right? If I wanna multiply that by 10, that means that in 10 years we make this kind of money, right? So you get the idea. I mean, I could keep going, and then I could be doing things and all that, right? Now you might say that, hey, you know what, Irfan, how about if I want to find out like every week, like, first week I make 2,000, second week together we make 4,000, then 12, then 16, then, but I want to print out something like that. Well, okay, good, very good, right? If you want to do something like that, then we have to learn it some more. There's something called for loop, right? So we have to keep looping, meaning that, okay, from week 1 to week 52, I want you to report every week, how much we make every week, right? And also say that week 1, it's 4,000 or 2,000. Week 2, it is 4. Week 3, it's, it'll do the math, and then so that's like, okay, now we know a little bit of VBScript, so we are extending, we're taking it to the next step. All right, now I'm going to stop here because this was the intro to VBScripting. And in here, I started with showing you how to use a comment. I explained to you why we are doing that, and then I gave you an example in real life how they do it, right? And then we started here. So I said, okay, 1,000 into this, 1,000 into that, and then together, then we talked about this as the addition, and this as the concatenation operator. We have the print statement here. We have, two strings, how to put string here, how to put string here, how to put a number in between. You have the concatenation operator. Then we did some math here. And while doing the math, we multiply that by 52. And then we reported that. While doing that, we also learned as how to declare the variables. We also saw like what would happen if you do not declare the variable. Program would still run, but then you would not get the results. So if you want QTP to help you, then you have to put this option explicit. Option explicit, again, is nothing but you're asking QTP to help you by saying that if I ever use a variable without declaring it, or if I misspell the variable, or if they don't match, then basically you go and then you help me. And that's what QTP did. Once I put this, it started reporting me with that box, and it gave me the option of what do you want to do for the script. Do you want to stop this script? You want to skip, or you want to retry, or you want to debug? And when we press the debug, that yellow thing stopped into the line which was causing the error. And then you would pay attention that, okay, this is the variable and this is the variable, so what is the difference between that? And then that's how you fix it. All right, okay, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video as I enjoyed presenting it. And as a part of our course, we'll be learning lots and lots of VBScripting. By the end of the course, you will come very close to calling yourself as a master of VBScripting or QTP, because you'll be doing quite in depth in our course. Once again, thank you for being a part of this presentation, and we will be looking forward to seeing you on another video from trainingrite.com.